for this. I feel like I'm afraid that this will be my mic will turn off. I feel like I was saying in a life that I don't have anything that I can offer the world, and my brain gets really angry when I told it to learn something new or to do something new. Like it doesn't want it to do it at all. It just rebels to the very max and it just shuts down very angrily. And I feel like it is something to do with the inner child probably being angry, being told to like study or work hard as part of a solution to make your life better. And I think it had enough after about 3 decades of doing that and leading to here to this point instead. It's as if that, if I do that again, that means I will be here again in 40 years. So what's the point? And I get it. But at the same time, as an adult, I also feel like I have societal voices in my head that basically say, well, you still need to make money. You still need to be not a burden to your friends and family. So you need to support yourself financially so you can exist peacefully. And that's the societal like voice in my head, which as an adult and a objective observer, I can agree with that, of course. But as a child existing inside this psyche as well, I feel like I want to rebuke it. I want to reject that idea, and I want to feel like why being a very naughty kid. But at the same time, I also don't want to shame the expression. I don't want to shame that voice that basically say no. I don't want to shame it because I feel, why am I being so mean to myself? I don't want to beat myself up, but that's the way I guess I was brought up. Like I was given an identity of shame, the identity of negative self image. And it feels like it's eating me up now. It feels like the weight of helplessness is just so much. And I couldn't even figure out what's what again. Last night I had a dream of like three sets of dream. The first dream was very comforting, like I was in a, I don't know, school setting, like in a class setting, and there was this boy that I used to like, and he sat next to me, and then he suddenly wrapped his arms around my neck area and my shoulder area, like basically like that. But like I think there was a chair between us, so like our bodies were pretty much not close to each other, so it was just like his arms were just around me. And at first I tried to get away, but not in a violent way, not in like, oh my god, what the hell, like not like that, nothing like that, but more in a like reactive, like, oh, like that. And then I feel like they just gently pull me back in, and then I settled. My body settled, and my body felt safe suddenly, so it relaxed. So I remembered that from the first dream that felt really good. But the second and the third dream was very much translation of how I feel in real life. Like the second dream was about me going into this station that doesn't even have a ticket gate. That I, if when I entered this station, I felt like, oh, I know that I need to go somewhere. I know that the station that I need to go is a place that I have been before, but I can't remember the name of the station, so I can't get on any kind of train because I know, like in the dream space, that I have visited this station before because I know in other dreams, only in the dream space, that I have to connect on a different station. And that's why I know I've been to this place before because I I've done this route before, but I couldn't get to any of the train because I don't know where I was going because I couldn't remember the destination. And it's definitely, but I really like the station because the station was very airy. It was very open, and then it's like it flows, and it wasn't too crowded either. And it was like this, like maybe early evening in the summer, like this, like the light is not as strong, and it just felt really good. But I was lost. I couldn't get to my destination because I can't remember where my destination is. But there was no sense of, even though I was lost, even though I wasn't comfortable with the fact that I can't remember where I'm going. I wasn't chaotic. I wasn't angry. I wasn't in an emotional turmoil. There was no mess emotionally going on. It was just more like me just trying to find a bench to sit on the station because I'm trying to remember where I needed to go. So there was no confusion. There was no scene to be had. It was just simply like I couldn't figure out where I was going. And I was really calm. The situation was calm. There was no drama. There was no tragedy. It was just simply, I just need to remember where I need to go. And the third one was I entered my room and the AC just above the door and it's leaking. And it's just because I know it's like I could see in between the gap of the AC cables and the walls, like it's, you know, water dripping, and there's water dripping at the floor as well. But like when I saw that, I saw like I just called a tradie to basically fix it. When the tradie came in, all the rooms, windows and blinds were opened. So suddenly this room that was dark suddenly is bright and airy because all the windows are open and it's so bright. Um, and yeah, after that I woke up. Um, but it just feels like the second dream felt like a redundant dream in my opinion, because I feel I don't need a dream to know that I am lost in life. I feel that every single day. I don't need to a dream to say that I don't know where I'm going, because I know that every single day. I've been telling ChatGPT is like I don't know where I'm going. I don't know, and I also feel this sense of like I feel the answer of the next step is right in front of me or is in me. I mean, like it's around. I just can't hold it. I just can't grasp it. But I know it's around and I'm not seeing it. I feel like I am being covered while it's in front of me. So it's a busy day today, hey? It's a Wednesday. It's a busy day for the air traffic, I think. Before COVID, I was so sensitive with sound. When every time one of those happened, I was just really couldn't function anymore. I even bought like a comforter for the bed so that I could try to live in the living room, to sleep in the living room because I couldn't stand the sound. So when COVID happened, I was so relieved that I had like that break from sounds, because the train stops, the plane stopped, everything stopped, so my body could had a break from the sound pollution like right now. And it was such, not, it wasn't like, it was like a huge help for sure to, because after that things got really worse. My health tanked worse from that, so I kind of was given like 2 years of reprieve from constant flying, no flying zone. So that was good for me because it helped, because I think like if it was really noisy and then on top of that my health gotten worse and worse, I think that would be a double blow or triple blows. I think like I would not be able to handle the pain. I would probably just jump from this balcony. um Also, I feel like me and Kafka is one person, You know Kafka, the one that says, "Should I kill myself or drink coffee?" That person. I think I also read some of the quotes from his other writings, and I'm like, this person sounds like me, but the personality is probably different, but the thoughts are similar. Um, yeah. So I was like saying in my life, I feel like life is like as if I'm talking to another person, but not really. I'm just talking to myself as well. But I was like, came out with the feeling that today, especially that I'm disabled, I am truly feeling that I'm disabled today. Like I don't know what to offer the world in terms of services, meaning like professional services or goods and stuff. I was thinking of selling all my stuff, but then again I thought, oh, I was trying to sell my billionaire 3 baby 3 blind box thing on eBay, and the process now I couldn't really cope with it anymore because the process is just too long. So I listed on Depop. So if you see this and you're in Australia, you want to get like some back charms, I got duplicates, and it's on depop.com/Valorine, which is like just my name, Valorine. And but I mean, I've done that when I first started out this journey of trying to make money on the internet. So I feel like doing that again is really, I feel like I've been there, done that. And even though I'm pretty sure the market is very different these days, and I'm pretty sure like it still works, I just don't want to do it again because you have to do a lot of work and without much of certainty of results of sales. The best way to do it is to see whether the item that you are selling will be guaranteed to sell. You can do that. You can search. For example, I did that with computer once, a laptop, and also with webcam. When I see like on the sold items how often it's being sold, and if it's often and you can see the price range, you just list it and it will get sold. But with other items it's not as easy, so and you also have to adhere to the price spread, so meaning um what price are people are buying it. And I can't be competitive because I will lose money if I do that. And the purpose is to make money because I got no money to lose. So I feel like I can't do selling anymore. All my creative outlet are basically running out of steam for me, from me, like from my own brain and from my own energy. And it seems like applying for jobs, it's not getting me anywhere. I don't have references. Sorry, I don't, because I've been, working on my own for the past 13 years. So more people won't go there. And so I feel like, what else can I do? I was thinking maybe I can make money from talking, but what topic should I? Ooh, Qatar Airline. I should start counting how many airplanes are passing by. So there are about 4 so far. Um, I'm like thinking, well, because like I feel so behind when I see all these creators that are very young on TikTok accumulating so many followers, very talented as well, very organized, able to compile a lot of things, and basically, know how to sell stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'm 42, like I'm almost 42. I can't really compete with this. My brain is not allowing me to do that. And even ChatGPT basically said you should not shame yourself. And I'm like, oh, was that what I was doing? I was shaming myself. Apparently, I was shaming myself. Apparently, I really shouldn't do that. So I'm like, should I become a speaker? But what do I want to speak about? I don't particularly want to speak about anything really. But can I make at least like 10 grand for like a 2 hour speaking engagement? That'll be nice. My speaking is not coherent, I think, which is why I really need a topic that I probably can rehearse and talk very eloquently. No, very structurally, in a structured manner. So I know where to begin, I know what the middle is, I should know where the punchline is, and I know how to wrap it up. I should know how to make the jokes in between as well, so that you kind of crack this tension, so that you're not, being really serious all the time. And there is that too. And the only reason I'm thinking about making money being speaker is because it does have that scalability of. Also, I'm smelling burning. It's very concerning. Um, because you can make a lot of money for a short period of time. Because you're not only talking to one person. Like if you do, so that's five airplane passing by. If you do speaking engagement, you're not only talking to one person, you're talking at least a minimum 10, 20 people. And, if you're doing a stage, you're probably doing like 100, 200, 500 people. So it's scalability as well. So 10 grand for them is not that huge. Like, because if you do like 10 grand by 500, that's like 200 a pop probably. And if you do it with multiple speakers, they probably can charge a person around, I don't know, a lot of money. And you can make money from sales of books as well, or other merchandise. I know a lady who wrote books, and it's a fluff books, and she's doing like speakers engagement now. And I felt so resentful of this person. I felt like, oh, this person didn't even finish high school. And I felt like, yeah, okay, it's jealousy talking. I should really be careful with that. I'm like pulling my ego, kind of like, hey, let's not go there. Let's not attack someone just because you think that you are better than them. You're not. If you are, then you'd be up there talking, right? But it is there, the jealousy, the spite, the venom intent in my brain to wish for them bad luck and stuff. Of course, like I'm regulating it for like whoosh wish. Don't do that, because you don't want other people to wish you that as well. And I looked at also the timeline about 2 years ago. I was applying. I was like not drunk apply, but because I wasn't drunk, because I don't drink alcohol. But I was like in a r- haze, and I applied for this TAFE course, which I canceled straight away about 2 years ago. And now 2 years has passed and nothing changed, and I can't really blame anyone except myself. And I really just want to end it, and I don't, because I'm just so tired to try to figure out how to get out of from this situation without hurting my own inner child. Like, no, it's not even about ego, it's about this delicate balance of not trying to traumatize or re-traumatize my inner child and my part of myself that are a bit healed, not to drag these parts out of their confinement by slashing them with whips, or with the only techniques that I know how to do, which was shaming myself, self-flagellating, beating myself up to try to get some movement forward, like a horse, like a racehorse, trying not to do that, and being able to figure out how to move forward without abusing myself is so that's 6 or 7. I think that's Air New Zealand. So Wednesday is a very busy day. Hey, Wednesday after evening, a lot of flights are leaving Sydney. Um, without going backwards, without hurting myself and stuff, and it's just becoming extremely dull to be alive. And I know like there is a possibility of me being granted to go home to heaven, and then suddenly after that, like the heaven is showing me, hey, um, if you stayed on earth, this is what was going to happen. So you were gonna get all your wishes anyway. So you should have just hang on a little bit longer. But even then, it's probably not something that I would be looking forward to. I feel like the freedom of being in heaven probably outweighs the possibility of escape from the situation. I'm not saying that I'm suffering as much. I'm just having an very chronic existential, not crisis, more like existential. I don't know what's the word. Existential nihilism. Is that the word nihilism? I saw like there was this channel, this guy that is so pessimistic. Even me listening to him was being like, "Oh man, that's dark," and I'm pretty dark. I was like, "Oh man, that's bad." So it was funny because I feel like I thought I was bad, and some other people. And like there was that guy called in my room or something. Like Nobita, is that his name? I can understand him now. I didn't understand him back then, but now I feel like all the rant that he has uttered, I feel like I'm relating to all of that now. This constant darkness in your head, this heavy clouds that do not lift. And even though I'm looking at blue sky right now, even though it's really hot today, so I'm probably not that happiest person when it's hot. Um, it's just this dull existing that I just wish someone, well, probably that's not a good wish. I don't want to say it out loud. I really would like to receive a solution, please. Would like to receive a solution in how to break away from my current situation. I would like the solution to be delivered to my brain. I'm asking the heavenly team. I'm using you guys as a buffer of like a few brains to help me wish also, like please wish Valerie to break away from her current living situation, or her currently her life situation, not living situation, her life situation, her whole life, so we can get different content. Probably that's a good thing. It's like I was looking at TikTok of just people like existing in a office, and I feel like, oh, I can't do those skills anymore. I don't know how to make, I don't know, presentation. I feel like I'm so behind. I feel like I'm becoming boomers, like I don't know how to make a PDF like that. I'm feeling like I'm one of those people now. I still know how to make a PDF. And I know how to mirror your computer to the screen. And I don't want to make slides for PowerPoint or presentation. I'm going to get AI to do that. I think you can get Cloud to do it. AI Cloud. Because that's just, I don't know, boring. I feel like I am worrying about non important stuff, you know? Like, I don't know how to create mail merge on Microsoft Doc. But these days, you don't need to know off the top of your head. You can just Google it. Someone's on YouTube will tell you, someone on TikTok will tell you how to do it. It's not 2010 anymore where you, if you don't know, you're screwed because you have to go to a training session by someone who is a certified Excel expert. It's a very different time. If you don't know how to do things, you just Google it and you just watch a video in how to do it. And the best thing about today is that you can just do it bite size. You don't have to watch a 2 hour training. So you can just find the task that you don't know how to do, and then you just watch how to do it. And you can build your training from then on by just focusing on the task that you don't want to learn yourself. So you just have to get someone to train you so that it's faster, because there are circumstances where it's easier for you to train yourself by playing around, exploring the software or AI, whatever it is that you want to learn. But there are also things that is faster if somebody shows you, and I think YouTube and the current internet is very good at that. Especially TikTok is really good to have TikTok on because it's a bite-sized learning curve. Although on TikTok now you can do 30 minutes video, it's crazy. I feel like I am so feel so behind. Well, I don't know. I feel like I stopped saying that. I know like I'm behind. I'm a loser, and that's what I feel like. And to some extent, maybe I have wanted to be a loser. Maybe because I felt if you're a loser, you don't have to take responsibility for your life. Maybe I think like when I was younger, I have this vision of grandiose, which probably just a very stereotypical youth thing, a young people thing that you born and you're meant for greatness, that you're meant to be successful, that you're meant to have a good life. I no longer think like that. That kid died. I used to be really confident too about the future. So as if that, oh, of course, money will come. Why doesn't it? Like, and I saw that same resolute in someone that was around the same age as I was back then, that still had that youth thinking that, of course, things will work out. I am good at what I do, of course. And I just thought, oh, maybe a bit negatively, well, that's just because life hasn't happened to you. The thing that you probably wanted to, I mean, like, there's probably something that you think as precious or as worthy, or as something that you think that will never go away, something you take for granted, something that you love so dearly and you didn't even know you love so dearly. They haven't been they haven't been taken away from you, or something that is not that you can't fix haven't happened to you. Something that is permanently failing you haven't happened to you. So of course you still have this idea that things will work out well. And I know I'm aware that it's an extremely pessimistic point of view, and to some degree, I feel like it could also be an ill intention towards someone else, because I myself can't figure out the way out, while at the same time, they are not me, so they probably could figure out the way out. They're probably a lot more robust because they probably have more support system around them, financially, emotionally, physically, socially as well. And that is a huge difference, I think, because that's what I feel like I don't have. And also on top of that, being autistic is very damaging. I think I can feel my brain deteriorating to the degree that I don't even have half of my brain anymore. I don't even have three quarters of my brain. I feel I only have like a quarter of my brain left intact, the functionality. And it's only enough to think about simple things. It's only enough to make myself food, buy myself groceries, do this kind of thing, which is like a one, two, three steps activities. And it can't have like 10 steps. It can't have, complicated things that are needing to be addressed and for like a long period of time, which you have to maintain your pace and your stamina as well. So I no longer have that. Everything is burned down, literally. I'm trying to work with the brain that I have and with the nervous system that whatever left of my nervous system that was burned down, basically. Um, Also, I got an email yesterday, a reply back from the foster puppy email that I was applying to. They rejected me, which was what I knew was happening. But I think I was happy that I got the courage to send the email, even though I knew the answer. Maybe it's more like I am sending the intention of I want a dog out there. I want to foster a dog like into the universe. So I guess like that's probably much more of the intention. Now I feel like at least one person had that email in their inbox and in their brain. So there is an awareness of that existing in this world of Earth. Wait, if that means that's how I'm manifesting things. Do I need to tell you that I am intending to be a multimillionaire, that I want to have hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in my bank account? I don't know if I want to have billions. I think with billions, I probably will have projects of like social projects. Like if I got like $3 billion, I probably would have social projects. For $300 million, I probably won't have too many social projects. Probably local projects around where I live. But I'm probably just going to live very quietly after I settled with my own like house or apartment and my own dog and cat. Probably would not do much with 100 or 300 millions. But I think beyond that, I would definitely consider a lot of social programs. Mainly, if I have $1 trillion, though, if I have like $3 trillion or $4 trillion, I probably would start definitely upgrading all Sydney rail networks. I would replace them all with the newest, whatever it is, metro or whatever the newest train is on all networks. And probably install or like build. And after Sydney is done, I probably would come up with some ideas in how to establish a national rail network, like a federal one, where the center of the network would be in Alice Spring or like in the center of Australia geographically. Because right now, I think we are just at the coast. We're just taking the coast as our roads around us, like on the coast. So you can go from Perth, from Adelaide on a straight line like that, but most of it are on the east coast, I think. And then on the east coast, on the north Australia, you can go around the coastlines as well to go into Broome, which is West Australia. And most of the lives are on the Western Australia, also on the coastline. So I feel like I want to have like infrastructure placed in the middle of Australia. I want to use the whole Australia as part of the infrastructure. And of course, with that will come a lot of challenges for sure. Like the terrains will be very different. Do you have like only one unbroken network, or do you have to build multiple networks? Because there probably will be some geographical areas where you can't drill underground, so you can't have um, I don't know, you can't have that on the road, on the route and stuff. And You might want to have to constantly be above ground if you want to install bullet trains, for example, but you can't have bullet trains underground. So that will be a challenge again. All that kind of thing. So, but selfishly, I just want to have like a rail network that is centered from in Alice Springs, so that you can cut time off from like Sydney to Broome, for example, because diagonally, that is that the word, like if you go diagonally in a diagonal manner, it's faster than if you go around the coastline. But I know like there is probably reasons why we're not doing that, right? So I want that also to be part of the solution, that to be corrected throughout the whole thing. And I think it'll be nice. I think it'll be opening up a whole different Australia. We can, like, it probably will bring in so many jobs, because there will be so many challenges, because we have to figure out how to solve the environmental issues. We have to solve how to, I don't know, make something viable when it's not viable. Maybe we need to recreate something again so that we can use the area in a more sustainable way. There's so many challenges, but I guess that's what I wanted to do, which is the final goal is to have a full rich infrastructure of rail networks across the countries. And at the same time, there will be challenges when that happens. And therefore, I want that challenges to be part of their plan as well, so that we can have people probably live, and maybe we can generate new cities in between those hubs of Australia, and we can move population from the dense of eastern seaboard to more into the mainland. And to do that, of course, you need also water in the mainland. You also need to have a lot of water sources established, so that you can't have landlocked places without water, like a huge body of water, because that means you have to transport water from really far away places, and you don't want to do that. And also, once the infrastructure is because like we are an island. We are also a continent, but we are a very small continent, so I think we are more towards an island than we are a continent in my mind. So I feel like that containment and that isolation will benefit us to a lot of degrees, because I feel if we can have that infrastructure established, right, it's probably gonna take like my whole lifetime until I die. Maybe, I don't know, 100 years for that to kind of being established. I don't know. It'll probably be a very slow project. But you know what? I'm positive about that, because by the time, because like we have electromagnetic technology already in place now, and it's not science fiction anymore, where you can basically use electromagnetic technology, like a board. So you're basically uh, moving an item without touching anything, and you're just using electromagnetic thing to move it as energy. And if that technology become mass produced, then transportation and a whole national infrastructure would not even be a dream. It would just be a goal to hit. Maybe it's not 100 years, maybe it's within 50 years. You never know. But Australia is very slow in implementing those kind of thing, I guess. The thing about Australia, what great about Australia, is that we are very quick at implementing certain technologies, like I think credit card technologies and internet banking. We are very quick at that. But the train, we were good about like maybe 30 years ago, and now we are so behind. Um, so yeah, so there's always going to be a very, not confusing, but not even double standard, just paradoxical thing about Australia. Like there are things that are so advanced. It's like our medical field are actually quite advanced. The administration, on the other hand, is probably a different thing. But I think most of the people that have found medical breakthrough in Australia migrants, by the way. So, but if you don't like migrants, you don't like the accomplishment that they brought here, then maybe you don't like Australia. So it is part of our landscape breakthroughs. And so yeah, so that's like my plan if I got like 3 4 trillions of dollars. Because like once you have your network established, right, your rail networks in whatever ways, bullet train, regular trains, your freight train, your electromagnetic train that is basically running in Shanghai at the moment. That's what it is. Like I think there is two uh, trains in Shanghai that is running, like the express train. That is the electromagnetic train that is really fast. I don't think it's a bullet train, but there's also like a regular train that you can take, which is longer to the city. Um, so it's already in place and it's already been running for a while. So it's not something new. And I think they have used the technology in South Korea as well. So it's nothing new. It's not like it's a new technology. And it's not like it hasn't been used. So like let's say like we have all the infrastructure. I feel like suddenly I was complaining about my life, and then now I'm going into this hypothetical fantasy how to spend trillions of dollars. uh, so let's say like that goal is accomplished, right? Let's say in 50 years, 60 years, that goal is accomplished. We have networks all over Australia, and it takes only about maybe 12 hours from Sydney to Broome, like diagonally, going like that. Because Sydney has the bottom, Broome has the top. So let's say like it takes only 12 hours now by train. Maybe you need to connect like maybe twice somewhere in the middle there. Uh, Maybe 12 hours is too quick, I don't know, but like I'm just saying, because like if you count, if you probably can take some of the legs in bullet trains, that probably cut it short, so it's 12 hours. So now if we see all of these journeys being taken with a very short period, right? Because like right now I think Adelaide to Perth is about 3 days. Of course, like you probably can get one of those fancy trains trip that will give you a sense of that you are in a Great Gatsby type of train experience, Agatha Christie type, that fancy one. It's not the same like the European trip, by the way. Very different landscape. Because you're probably just gonna see deserts. Because you're not going upwards. Because if you're going from Adelaide upwards to Melbourne and to Sydney, if you're not going to through the Alps, so you probably won't see much of the beautiful mountain ranges in Australia. We do have Alps, by the way, Alpine region between Victoria and New South Wales, so you can actually go there. uh, I think our Alpines are better than the German ones. That's what they said, because we are part of the New Zealand Alpine regions. Like Tasmania is a little bit of the broken piece from the um, Isles of New Zealand. So Tasmania probably have more similarities to New Zealand's landscape than it is for the rest of Australia. Anyway, I'm just saying, like, so if we can cut down that journey short from 3 days, for example, to a day, that's huge. And also, that means like anywhere in between, right, will now be open to be a hub of anything. Create, you can go from Perth to Cairns, which is the other way diagonally, like Perth is down there and Cairns at the top of the Queensland there in 12 hours, for example. That means like you can maybe be in Alice Spring and you can remote work and remote work in Alice Spring and go to your headquarter. If your headquarter is in Perth, you can go there like once every 2 weeks, for example. By train, it's only take you gonna 6 hours, and you can stay overnight and then come back again the next day, or you can come back like on a on a weekend or something. And then it's the same if you want to go to Cairns, for example. And suddenly, like now, the whole Australia, if you open, like establish all this network down path, that mean you can have little stations like you do in suburbs in Sydney, right? You can have like cities in Australia now. You can build new cities now because when you build all of these tracks and stuff, you probably can also see what kind of, you have glimpses of what the environmental uh, area is like. So that probably will give you glimpses of where it could be habitable, where you could fix an environment to be habitable if it's not habitable. But you know, like, because there will be degrees of like this is absolutely cannot be fixed, and there will be like this is really bad. But I think it can be worked on, and then it can have like potential for things to grow and for things to become a lot more habitable. You know, those kind of degrees of the environmental habitual levels. And if you do that, that means like you can have people or engineers and environmentalists and I don't know, geologists and everyone can basically put their brain together because I'm not that smart and say like, oh, we can build a city here, we can build a city there. And of course, like the first thing you probably have to find is a source of water and source of electricity. And in this particular thing, they probably have to generate, I don't know, renewable energies somewhere out there in either through wind or through solar something, right? And you know, I don't know if this is true or not, but like in China they put like millions and millions of solar panels and on at the deserts, and suddenly the desert now is flush with the greens because now like whatever plants that could not survive under the intense sunlight could survive, and therefore it's repopulating the flora again in that area. And if you have flora being revived, that means you can bring fauna in, which means like animals and bugs and all the other things, right? So I think like there are a lot of smart people out there who are smarter than me, PhDs and people probably who are really better at explaining or trying to find a way. I feel like it could be a problem, a fun problem to solve, meaning like they can find a place where they can regenerate the environment to become habitable, both for human being and also for the flora and fauna of Australia as well. And I think like this way, you don't have to go to Sydney to get a job. This way, you can have like local cities like China, for example, where it is very much a self-sufficient city to run on. And it's a circular economy, meaning like it can run on itself. It has its own, energy generator power somewhere. It would have its own local wildlife and stuff. And also, the prices of goods and services would come down for these regional space areas because if you have an established rail network, which is where I wanted to play with, if I have like trillions and trillions, like 100 trillions of dollars to play with, um, because once you establish this network, right? Like, and I don't mean like just one, two, three, four, like networks, and that's like the whole national network. No, I want it to be like suddenly from the mid, like whatever, like the possibilities, like or whatever anyone who willing to figure out how to make it work, and not make it work from an ego point of view, but actually making it work for it to be useful for people, not for it to be an accolade type of thing. So this is definitely like something, an experiment that really would like to make it work for the sake of making it work, for the fun of seeing it working, and not for like being complimented, validated, or whatever it is that human usually have this insecurity about. This is seeing things work, and so I want like a very dense national rail network, like you would in Sydney or in Korea or in Japan, but I want it to be applied for it at a national level. So I want like Australia as this really tiny um, continent but big island. I want that big island to be like one whole giant network that is very a federal network that feels like you are just being in one big city. And that's the feel that I want to get, because that means, right, if we have that really dense network lines operating, and hopefully maybe we can tax the mining industry or whatever industry that is booming and not being taxed, probably we can generate income from there. And hopefully with all the renewable and maybe all the discovery that we probably would make by experimenting on this, we hopefully can generate incomes from, I don't know, the new patent of engineers or people trying to solve issues, and then they have to come up with a solution, right? And if they come up with a solution, they probably can patent it and then sell it off also in the market to make the world a better place, blah blah blah. Um, but selfishly, it has to work in Australia first. Um, Look, because if you have all those networks established, that's mean like the cost of bringing goods and services to these places are no longer going to be high. It's just going to be part of everyday routine of transferring goods. Because if you have all the ports open now, like if all the cities or the new cities are also talking to each other quite regularly, you will also have new airports established, because there will be new cities in Australia, right? You will have like new airports. It will be proper airports too, and it will be busy, and it won't just be like six major city in Australia. Of course, the problem now is that we have what 30 million people approaching as a city, as a country, but people think it's too much. Well, if people think too much, then based on this rail network that I'm planning in my head, as a fantasy. I feel like this is an equivalent of fantasy football for some guys. That I'm planning in my head. That means like we can ship off all this migrant to the middle of Australia. Of course, we have to figure out how to make it comfortable to live as well. We can't just ship them off and then say, hey, it's cheap there. We're giving you opportunity. Nah, nah, nah. We have to take care of people, right? So like the goods and services will not be expensive because it will just be an area that is easy to reach, is easy to get to. So if it's easy to get to, if they have airports, if they have like freight train stations and stuff, that there is no, and that means that also means like we will probably will establish a huge networks infrastructure for roads as well, right? So the price of goods hopefully will come down, because it will be busy, it will be just busy, 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 busy within Australia. So, and economically wise, I feel like it's also be beneficial, because we will have space now to, you know, we will need people to kind of come in and help us. And also, when that happens, people need to spend money, right? So it will be like a circular economy would be good, and we would have increase our domestic eco- economy in a significant way. And I don't know. I feel like that would work in my head. It's a fantasy, definitely a fantasy. But I feel like selfishly, the reason why I thought that is that because I can't drive, so I just want to hop on a train and go to anywhere in Australia and be like, let's say, be affordable, like from here to, I don't know, from here to Broome, for example, in 12 hours, right, would be like, I don't know, $20, $25. Um, because it takes off like 10 times a day. And so yeah, that's my intention, and I can see all the parts of Australia that are now not reachable by public transport or by transport in general, because it's not being developed and stuff. And I feel like it's also can be helpful for indigenous Australia, because most of them are in areas or remote areas. So if we establish like rail networks and infrastructures and build cities, and basically making sure we have a lot of water sources, and not have those water sources being privatized or sold to any company. No, it belongs to the people. It will always need to be belong to the people. We cannot sell that, because if you listen to what Nestle billionaire owners basically said about water is not a human right, It's really, really careful. And I think like with all the network open, we basically making sure that Australia is open for Australians. And I think it will help, like, because if you're in a very isolated place, the reason why it's isolated, while the goods and services are not cheap or it's not affordable, and there is nothing there, you're just gonna drink grog all day or take drugs because you need to escape. Like, it's a mental prison basically, and traumas are a real thing. So, once you have like all this network established or development started to build, you're going to be surrounded by people, so it's easier for them to be part of Australian society as well, and also easier to get health things around. It's helpful to be surrounded by people, well, not necessarily maybe people who have colonial mentality. They can be surrounded by migrants Australians, which probably would better understand their issues better. And just because they're migrants doesn't mean they are low skilled. You can have high skilled migrant, which is what Australia is known for, the high skilled migrant program. um, to be part of their society and to help and to kind of like mix everything back together and mend the society as it is. My concern is just the train. But I feel like, of course, like, for only 30 million people, which is probably what, a level 4 city, tier 4 in China, which is like very small city. Like, because Shanghai and Beijing is tier 1. And then you have like, down the tier, tier fourth tier probably is around a whole country's population, which is probably around 40 million. And we're like the host country, and then we all like complaining, oh, there is no more space here, mate, go away, we don't need any more here, which is bull. Anyway, that is my rant. Sorry, I'm pretty happy about this rant, to be honest, because I think it's a lot better to think about things of fantasy rather than being wallowing into my dark spaces. Anyway, that's what I would do for like $3 trillion. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. It's getting dark. Bye.